Hi guys, welcome back to the Financial Interest YouTube channel. My name's Dan. So in this week's video, I'm going to cover how to calculate your net worth. So calculating your net worth is one of the most important things you can do to ascertain your financial health as an individual. So if you enjoy this kind of content, please give us a like and also consider subscribing to the channel as well. It really helps me out and I really appreciate all the support. So let's get on with the video. So first we need to look into what is net worth. So net worth is really an indicator of an individual's financial health. And to calculate the net worth, you need to look at all of your assets and then remove all of your liabilities. So your assets are the things that you own and your liabilities are the things that you owe. So once you subtract your liabilities from your assets, you're then left with your net worth. And one of the most important things to focus on is buying assets, not liabilities. Now that's something I first learned about in Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is actually like a great kind of book for any kind of beginners looking into personal finance. It's one of the things that really got me interested in everything. So I'd highly recommend reading that book as well. So in a minute, we'll just go and look at some examples from assets and liabilities. But first, I want to kind of go over a quick scenario. So imagine you're where you live, you've got neighbors on either side of you. On one side, you've got neighbors who outwardly looking, they seem like they would have a really high net worth. They've had like extra work done to their house, like an extension. They get a new car every 2 years. They've got a boat, all the latest electronics and things like that. And also they go on family holidays overseas like 2 or 3 times a year. So outwardly, everything would look like that they would have a really high net worth. But actually, that might not be the case, particularly if they've financed all of these things through loans or debt. Perhaps they've got like a big mortgage on the house for the extension, or they've taken finance for the car, or they're putting their holidays on credit cards and things like that. So it might not actually be the case that they're as well off as you think. And on the other hand, on the other side of you, maybe you've got another family. They live kind of much more modest life. They do have a car, but it's a little bit older, maybe around 5 years old. They do go on holidays, but only once a year, like a family holiday. But don't let that kind of be deceptive, because perhaps they actually own their house already. They might own the car, and then probably they pay for their holidays in cash. So they might actually have a much higher net worth than the family on the other side of you, because what you need to remember, it's not about your income and your earnings. It's about the assets that you've got minus the liabilities. So don't let kind of that fool you. If someone seems to have a high salary and spends a lot of money, it doesn't mean they have a high net worth. So we need to focus on the assets and the liabilities. So first we'll look at some examples of assets. So cash in your checking account. You may also have cash in a savings account, and this might be like an emergency fund or something like that. Your business would be an asset, your home, or you might also have rental properties. You might have an investment portfolio, and this could be made up of things like stocks, bonds, index funds, mutual funds, ETFs, perhaps even crypto if you're into that as well. You might have collectibles such as art, antiques and things like that. You might also have electronics. Perhaps you're into photography and you've got a lot of photography kit, lenses. All that stuff can be quite expensive. I mean, I would recommend probably only sort of putting the items which are maybe above $1,000, just to kind of make it a little bit easier to keep track of. But these are all things that would go down in the assets column. And moving on to the liabilities, this will be anything like mortgage, car loan, personal loan, student loans. Also, if you've got credit cards, perhaps you've got a line of credit with a bank or an overdraft facility. These are all going to go on the liabilities side. And your net worth is something that's going to change a lot depending on what stage you are in your life. Obviously, perhaps you're a student, you've just graduated from university. It is very likely that you'll have considerably more kind of liabilities than you will have assets. So you've probably got like a large student loan, maybe you've also got credit card debts. So it's really not kind of unusual for someone starting off in their career that they're going to be, like quite a lot minus, maybe, $30,000, or could be even more, but that shouldn't really be surprising. The important thing is that you put a strategy in place to reduce those debts and start building up your assets as well. And kind of as you kind of going through life, as you get further along, maybe you get rid of those debts. Maybe you start to accumulate more assets as you pay your house off. Maybe you pay the cars off, remove all of your student loans. And obviously, as you're getting closer to retirement, you want to be in a situation where you have really like no liabilities. Your mortgage is all paid off. Perhaps you have a rental property or rental properties that are all paid off. And you have like literally no debts going kind of into retirement, because obviously you don't want to still be paying out stuff at that point. And the reason it's really important to kind of track this is obviously to be able to monitor your progress over time. Now, with this kind of thing, I don't think you need to do it every month, but probably I'd recommend kind of doing this quarterly, so every 3 months, because then you're more likely to see kind of bigger jumps in the differences in your net worth over like a few more months. And just when I was kind of doing a little bit of research for the video, I came across just quite a basic Excel sheet, which was from just Microsoft's website. So I'll actually leave a link to that as well in the description, because you'll be able to download that and just use that as a starting point. Alternatively, you could make your own Excel, or you could use something like Google Sheets. But the important thing is that you actually get started with tracking this, because the only way you can kind of make improvements to anything in terms of your goals is by monitoring them over time and making any adjustments you need to kind of reach your goals. And I've made a previous video on financial goal setting, so I'll leave a link to that as well in the description. And now we can just go and take a look at the spreadsheet and a few different examples from people in different stages of their life. Okay, so we can see here from the just the calculator I downloaded from the Microsoft website. So the first example we'll look at here is just from a student. So as we can see, we've got our assets on one side, our liabilities on the other side. So the student obviously doesn't own their own home. They do have a vehicle, like a car, which is only worth $5,000. They do have some electronics. And here we've got a little bit of money in their checking account and the savings account, which is just from a part-time job that they've been working. So we can see here that the total assets is $11,200. And on the liability side, obviously we can see here there's $30,000 in student loans and also $10,000 in credit card debt. So the total liabilities there is $40,000. And we can see up here on the right that gives an estimated net worth of minus $28,800. So this is not kind of really surprising for a student, someone who's just graduated. And next we just jump into like a professional couple who's around 45 years old. They have their own home. They've got a couple of cars. Also, there is some jewelry, furniture, electronics, and they've got some money in the checking account, and also $20,000 in a saving account, which is kind of they use for an emergency fund. They've already put $300,000 into a retirement account, but also on the side they do a little bit of their own investing as well. So they've got they're holding some bonds and also some individual stocks, because that's kind of an interest they have as well. And they also have a rental property. So that gives them a total assets of $1,065,500. And then if we jump to the liability side, we can see there's still 250,000 outstanding on the mortgage, 10,000 outstanding on car loans and a real estate loan for their rental property, and they also have around 10,000 of credit card debt. So their total liabilities here is 345,000, giving them an estimated net worth of 720,500. So now moving on to the retired couple, we can see here that they own their own home, they've got a car, they have jewelry. Also, they like to collect things such as artwork and also antiques. They have a small amount in their checking account and also a larger amount in a savings account, which is just used purely for an emergency fund in case they need to get quick access to money. They've obviously been paying into a retirement plan for a long time and have $1 million in that. They've kind of gone more heavily into bonds now, obviously just to take away the volatility of individual stocks, although they do still hold some individual stocks. And they also have a couple of rental properties that they've built up over the years, and this gives them total assets of $2,706,000. And now this is the key point on the liability side, because obviously now that they're in retirement, they've focused on removing pretty much all of their liabilities. So all you will see here is a small amount of credit card debt, which is just kind of things that they use for shopping, just to kind of get bonus points and things like that, because that's one of the things that credit cards are good for. So you can see really minimal liabilities here, and their estimated net worth is $2,703,000. So we'll just touch on some of the key points regarding net worth. So the net worth is a measure of your financial health, and it's calculated by taking all of your assets and removing your liabilities. And a key area to focus on is making sure that you're buying assets and not liabilities. And if they're also cash producing assets, that's definitely a benefit as well. So things like rental properties or dividend stocks, there's kind of a good example of that. And remember that high earnings don't necessarily lead to a high net worth. We kind of touched on that in the example earlier. If you earn a lot of money but also spend a lot of money, then that's not going to help out your net worth either. And it's important to start monitoring your net worth on a regular basis. As I've mentioned, probably like every quarter is a good starting point for this. As you get a bit further down the line, and maybe that can be less often, maybe twice a year or once a year. But it's important early on to make sure that you're staying on track so you can make any adjustments required. And this will allow you to kind of hit your goals. So that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like. Also consider subscribing to the channel as well if you enjoy this kind of content, and you can click the notification bell to get notified of whenever I'm releasing new videos. And let me know in the comments below, is this something that you calculate on a regular basis? Do you monitor your net worth every month, or is it every 3 months? Perhaps you only do this kind of once a year, but I'm kind of always interested to know your perspective on this, so please leave that in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.